Warning: if you're faint of heart or easily offended, this show is not for you.
All right, this is the Nick Vertucci Show. I am Nick Vertucci, and I am here with Mike the Mouth Matusow. Mike, how are you?
Good, man. How are you?
Good, man. I know this is a little early for you. It is 12 noon Pacific. You just rolled out of the rack, yeah?
Yeah, I went to bed around 8:30. Got my 3.5 hours sleep for you.
8:30 a.m.? What are you, just grinding online?
Normally I am, but I wasn't. I don't know why. It's really weird. It's like, so at about 7 o'clock at night last night, it's been a long day for me yesterday. And I just fell asleep from like 7 to like 11:45. And I'm like, oh, great. I'm never going to get up in time.
Got it. Yeah.
Nick's going to hate me tomorrow. And so then
screwed yourself.
Yeah, it was. I went around. I got out yesterday. I went and see my psychiatrist. We talked about, kind of just was talking about the good things that happened during the series and the bad things that happened during the series, and what we could do to improve it. So normally I do. I've always done a over the phone with her, and she has never met me. And
who is this, Mike? I didn't catch.
A psychiatrist.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, and Daniel hooked me up with her. She was really kind of changed my life, and so I met her yesterday for the first time, and we just talked about all the things that went good, the things that went bad, and what do we need to do to improve mentally. And so it was good to get out of the house and go see her. It's like I said to her, it was, overall mentally wise, I thought the series was really good for me. I had a few speed bumps, and we kind of went over what kind of might have caused them, and what we could do to do better.
Well, Mike, with that said, one of the reasons you're here is because you actually had a great WSOP of 2023. So there might have been some speed bumps and some expectations that you got very close to, but would you agree that you did pretty good? I got some stats here.
Yeah, it is really weird. So the first 2 weeks of the series, okay, and we'll take out the first 4 days because like I hadn't played a tournament since last year's World Series. So it took me like 4 days to kind of get into tournament mode. And then once I did, I felt like I was playing good. And so we're 4 days in, and the next, I'd say the next 10, 11 days, nothing good was going right, but I felt like I was playing good. And, but I was in a lot of pain. And Sean Deeb noticed I was in a lot of pain. And he brought his own massage therapist out there with him, and so she started working on me, and because I couldn't even function, and the next thing you know is I decided to do some things that I've never done before, which is get a room at the series. So she was working on me, and then I called Jack to get me a room. Because normally I give them $40 to leave my car up top, and then $20 for my scooter each way, which was $80 anyways. And so they got me a room for like $80 a day. And so that's kind of like when things kind of changed for me for the series, is because I was really struggling with pain. I was really struggling going back and forth from the house. They're building this racetrack. The traffic was absolutely horrible down there. And so, that really was something that I did, that I will have a room at the series every year for the rest of my life, I think.
Well, that's really cool. Mike, is this mainly your back where the pain is?
No, well,
your legs?
It's not really. I have a spinal cord injury, and so it causes like signal changes all over my body where everything's in pain. I get weakness. I went to the last event, Game 5 of the NHL Finals, and they had to put me in a wheelchair to wheel me out because I couldn't walk at all. So it's like I don't know. I talked to, I just talked to a physical therapist 2 days ago, and we're going to try hard to build my lower body up stronger, and my upper body up. So possibly like it's not collapse, because what it is when
The
I get a little bit,
compresses.
yeah, when the disc, when it puts any kind of compression
Yeah,
on
it's
the disc,
compression.
yeah, because the disc it's in such a dangerous spot. It's really scary. It's like if the disc moves just 1 millimeter, I could be paralyzed. So they just needed. He's hoping where he could stop the compression on the disc, and because when I stand for more than like 20 minutes, I can't walk.
Mike,
Walk,
is there not a surgery for this, or is the surgery too risky because of what you
it's too
said?
risky. It's like there is a surgery. The one like I did the first, like I did the first one, but it's very, very risky, and it's like it's kind of like the very last of the last thing they're going to think about doing. So but whenever I get the weakness where I can't walk, I start freaking out, because I don't know if anybody knows me, knows that I'm a hypochondriac, but I start freaking out, and I start worried about, like, oh God, I'm going to have the surgery again. So I
Yeah.
went and got another MRI July 25th, and I'm like, please God, like if the disc moves like even 1 millimeter, I have to have the surgery again. So
Yeah.
it ended up coming that it hasn't moved at all, which is a good sign. But it does show that, the compression is causing the signal changes in my body and all that, which is everything I knew. And so I went to my friend Danielle Anderson, hooked me up with her physical therapist. And I went and saw him 2 days ago, and I showed him all my MRIs. I showed him everything I've been through, and he thinks he can help me. So, I'm going to go this route now. I've never really done some like 3 days a week physical therapy for 3 months. So,
I mean, you gotta try something, Mike.
yeah, I can't live like this anymore.
Yeah, you can't live. I mean, you've been living like this a long time since we've been.
9 years I've been living like this.
Yeah,
It's,
dude, do something about it, man. And let's talk about what you're able to accomplish in this state. It's pretty fucking amazing. I mean, you this year you had 8 caches.
Mhm.
You had 3 final tables, and the first time in your career you had 2 in a row, huh?
Yeah. So, I look back at this series as like I put too much pressure on myself. It's like I wanted to win so bad that I kind of gave it away, and not to take anything away from Martin, who beat me, but I did not play my best, and he played way better than I did. And I just felt like, oh, I have to win, because I got to get in the Hall of Fame, and the bottom line is I was never getting in the Hall of Fame, whether I won that tournament or not. And so, I look at it now and it's like, why did I put all that pressure on myself to win?
Well, Mike, let me ask you something. That's on my list to ask you about, ironically enough. Straight talk. Why aren't you in, and why won't you get in? Just what's the exact reason in your brain that's the case? It doesn't make sense. I mean, your stats and
well, I mean, that's a good question. I mean, they put people in the Hall of Fame in front of me that can't beat me in any game.
Name a couple that went in that you feel you should have got in first. It doesn't matter. I mean, they're in. You might as well
go there. I mean, I think I don't want to go there.
All right.
We could just go down the list of like the last 10 that were put in.
Okay.
And there's 4 of them in there that couldn't beat me in any game.
But why though? Why aren't you in?
Well, it gets decided. They moved it from 2 to 1, which made no sense. Everybody thought they were going to move it from 2 to 4.
What's 2 to 1, 2 to 4 mean?
So they used to put 2 people in a year, and then COVID hit, and they decided to change it to 1 a year, which made no sense. And everybody thought they were going to change it to start putting in 4 people a year. And going from COVID, they went from 2 to 1. And so
why can't they just instead of doing 1, 2, 4, why not just look at who they're considering and just put in who they think should be in?
Well, what they do is they've left the entire vote up to the 33 people who are in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So now you have people who I've played with my whole life. A few of them are somewhat jealous of me because they've never beaten me. You have some people that don't know anything about what I've done for poker that are in the Hall of Fame. They're just like cash game players that they put in.
Yeah.
You have certain people that are in the Hall of Fame that don't want me in. Listen,
you think anyone doesn't want you in because of like some of the things you stand for? I see a lot of stuff on Twitter. You're very political. Do you think that plays anything into it, or do you think it's just
I did for a while. Now, not so much. The thing is they're always about what have you done for me lately? This is what, and that's what's really bad about the Hall of Fame process too. It's always about like, oh, if you die, you're in. Okay, if you die, you're in. If you win, if you have a good year, you're in. They don't go by. Nobody goes by total of everything. What am I? One of 8 people who made the main event final table twice. You look at so many different things, and now it's like, oh, he won 2 bracelets this year. Oh, he's in the Hall of Fame. Oh, and it's like, really, there's 100 different bracelets, events. And so being able to, people don't understand what I deal with every day, but they'll find out when my documentary comes out. And so, it's hard for me to even function, let alone compete for bracelets. And so,
well, Mike, here's the thing. Listen, let me say a few things here. This is just my opinion. First of all, I think that, having just the people that are in the Hall of Fame decide, I think it should be fans. I think it maybe should be a combination of something, but whatever, it is what it is. But, but like, whether you got, what do you have? How many bracelets you have? 6?
4.
5? 4?
4. Yeah.
4. All right. So you have 4 bracelets, but let's talk about this. You were a legend. Seriously, I have no reason to say this. You're the most annoying person I know, but you were a legend in poker at the beginning days when poker, the old high stakes poker, the old ESPN, WSOP. I mean, your name was prominent in bringing poker to where it is. You have great stats, regardless of if you had 2 this year or 1 last year. It's just crazy to me.
I mean, I'm also the only one that to have my own Sports Center piece on Sports Center. Like I have my own a 5-minute Sports Center piece on Sports Center, and kind of like they do these little, how ESPN does these little clips on like people. They used to do them. They last like about 5 minutes. And so I had that in 2005. I had, I mean, I don't know if
No, I don't think you need to. I really don't. Let me do that for you. And that's not why we're here. I didn't plan this, but I'm advocating for you because
here's what bothers me the most, right? Is I should have been in 10 years ago. My dad passed away 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And
that sucks.
It really bothers me that.
Yeah.
About that.
No, I could tell.
My mom's 86 years old. She might have 2 years left. You know what I mean? So these are the only, other than me, I could give 2 fucks. You know what I mean?
I think you give 2 fucks, but at the same time, I understand what you're saying.
I care more about from my parents than I do for me.
Yeah, I understand.
That's the truth.
I understand. Well,
let's change stuff.
All right.
I talked to Brian Rast when he got in this year, and we had a moment, and he's going to do what he can to try and get some of these rules changed, and get more people. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Real quick, I touched on this, and I only want to stay on this subject like a minute or 2. I don't talk politics on the show. I don't think it's like really the right thing to do. But most of your tweets are political. So I guess I'm just going to ask you a blanket question. Where do you think we are right now? Just the state of affairs with everything. I mean, give me your macro.
I try to
dissertation.
not. I've tried to limit my political tweets because I'm not anywhere near as far right as I used to be, but I'm not. I mean, it's kind of like the country's in such bad shape that I can't stand it. It just bothers me. It's like I know the corruption that's going on. You know,
it's
I mean, I know you used to be a Trump supporter, and so did I. But I mean, I'm not a Trump supporter anymore. I mean, but I do see what they're doing to him, and it makes me want to.
Do you think he's being politically attacked because he's going to make a run?
Yeah.
And this is
if you read all you have to do is read the indictments. They're just bullshit.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I'm just asking. I think so. And by the way, I'm still a Trump supporter, so we don't have to debate that. I don't even care. Look, I don't get into that with people, but I never shy away from my beliefs, whether they're religious or political or anything else, poker. So that's just who I am. I'm not backing away to make anyone happy. But listen, with that said, who cares?
You know, you have the Senator Johnson came out, like a week ago, and he's all like, COVID was released on the world on purpose. I'm like, well, that's the same. I've only been saying it for 4 years now, and they all thought I was crazy. Now you have a current senator saying it. You know, I know. You know, and so they're not going to let Trump see the White House again, and they will do whatever they can to stop him. So,
what do you think he's going to come? What do you think he's going to come out with Monday? Do you know about that?
I mean,
are you familiar with
what does it matter? The fake news is going to. They're going.
No. I'm just asking. Are you familiar with that? There's supposed to be some big.
Of course I am. You know me. I'm familiar with. I sit home every day and I live and breathe what's going on.
Yeah.
In the world, you know, so they're just not going to. They're just not going to let him. They're just gonna whatever he puts out. They're just gonna, say, well, it's not true. It's not true. It's not true. It's not true.
What if the information, then we're going to drop this subject and move on to something else that you posted recently. But what if, let me ask you this question. Last question. I don't want to go into it.
Yeah.
You could just give me your cursory answer.
What if it shows that they're.
What if the military is behind the investigation?
Well, they are. What do you mean, what if?
Well,
the military,
that's my way of saying it.
The military is behind everything.
No. Okay. I'm saying, what if it's not Trump, but what if it's the military
behind everything? What's that?
No, not the military. No, time out. Let me talk. The military industrial complex is one of the dirtiest institutions in the world. What I'm saying is there's a faction in the military that are not part of the military industrial complex, which is part of the swamp. And so my question to you, what if there is a faction of the military that comes out to say they were monitoring? I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying, what if?
You're saying what Trump said? Like,
do you think anyone would believe it? Do you think anyone would believe any of the election stuff if that happened?
They wouldn't believe it because the fake news would go full out. They would go full.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to know your thought.
Yeah. And so the thing is here's the one thing good about Trump. Okay, is he has exposed the media for what it is. Okay. Elon Musk now, who's been a left-wing Democrat his whole life, has come out and exposed the media for what they are, right? He's been completely red-pilled, right? So many people that I know that were far left that are now down the center are even considering crossing over. It's got nothing to do. They haven't moved their position. They just see how insane the media is and how insane the country has become. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't want to name some names, but like I could tell you 2 or 3 names in poker that were about as far left as could be in 2016 that I mean, I wouldn't shock me if they voted GOP next year. It's like they understand how the media, and again, Trump's legacy will always be outing the fake news media and how everything we see is a narrative that's being formed.
The GOP are a bunch of dirty swamp rats, if you want my opinion. They disgust me. People think I'm Republican. I'm not.
I'm not.
Okay, listen. Let's get off that. They're worse.
Chase subjects,
they're worse.
But they're the worst. The GOP
Yeah, they're the
is
worst.
the
So
McConnells of the world and the Lindsey Grahams of the world. They're the fucking worst.
Yeah. So if anyone wants to drag me for being Republican, don't, because I think they're worse than anyone.
I'm on your side when it comes to that.
They're a bunch of scumbags. But
they're
okay,
the scum
so
of the earth too.
yeah, they're all sold out. So Mike, let's move on to back to poker, so we don't polarize the whole world here with this. Okay, a couple things. You're pretty vocal about the fact of what you think how tournaments should be structured as far as rebuys. What are you still pretty adamant about? You just don't think they should exist?
I mean, I don't think a re-entry should exist. Now, if you want to go, if you fly across country and for a $3,500 event, you could have a re. I mean, people like, you don't need multiple re-entries. It's like, who goes broke people go broke on day one, or people that can't play anyways. So I mean, it's like, I don't know. I've gone broke on day one of a poker tournament. I'm not trying to brag, but I don't know, 5 out of 100 times. It's like, it's not like it, it's like if you're going broke on day one, it's, even if you get coolered, it's like, people, you're deep enough, but people don't think about it. They just like, oh, I can re-enter, so fuck it, and they'll just call. But it would change everything if we go back to how it used to be. I mean, I'd like to see, except for the World Series, I'd like to see like maybe 2 hours of late reg, and that's it. But I'd like to see every tournament start at noon, and the only re-entries we have is one re-entry on some.
Yeah, I don't get a vote because I don't play tournaments, but I would agree with you if I did. I hate the concept of rebuys. Okay,
the worst concept is max late reg, when you could buy in with 2/3 of the field out with 15 or 20 big blinds.
Yeah, it's just weird.
Guy that won the 50K no limit. I won the 50K no limit this year. Bought it on day 2 with 15 big blinds with I don't know, like 80% of the field out.
Yeah. I have a question for you, Mike. What do you think about online bracelets? Do you think they're worth their salt? What do you think? I know what you posted recently. I want to talk to you about the chip dumping clip. It was amazing what you posted. We'll go through, if you can walk us through that hand, that's great. But before you do, what do you think about bracelets online? Do you think they hold their salt? They should be counted?
Well, I mean, the reason why they're such a farce and it's such a joke is, forget about the fact that they've included online and POI at the World Series. That's criminal, right? But the fact that, like, to win POI now, you have to carry a laptop around and multi-table your live tournament with an online tournament, which is just absolutely ridiculous. Like it's just ridiculous. And so, not only that, is everybody in poker knows that all the young kids come out here and they all rent a house together, okay? And if there's an online tournament that day, they're all playing in that same house, okay? And then if somebody gets deep, they're all sitting in a room just like this, and they're all behind each other and watching and telling people things that they see, and then they're giving like a bracelet to one person that was won by 10 people. And I know this happens for a fact.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to challenge me on this,
you have the receipts on that.
I just know. Okay, I know people. I hear from I know what goes on. I mean, it's like it's there should never be. I mean, online poker tournaments is just, I can't even believe it. I mean, it's just more bracelets, but it's just still, I see people with these stats like, oh, this guy's got 4 bracelets and he's won 3 million online, or 3 million and I'm like, 4 bracelets? I've never heard of this fucking guy. I look it up. He's got three bracelets, for $100,000 at the World Series for a $400 buy-in event.
No, I get it. I get it. Okay, whatever. you just posted. Are you able to walk us through that hand that you posted? Hold on. Wait, Mike, let me preface so people know what we're talking about. So you posted on Twitter yesterday, I think, a hand from ACR that you're like, if this isn't chip dumping, I don't know what is. And I was in awe of the hand. You want to walk us through it?
Yeah, I mean, guy has, I went raised 3-bet, and he 4-bets it with ace king, and guy calls. Flop comes king 7 deuce, and then he check calls like 11 big blinds. They're both like 120 big blinds deep.
Yeah.
And then the turn card comes like a stiff, and he check raises them from 33 big blinds to like 70, and then he re-raises them all in another 30, and the guy calls with jack queen high,
With queen, yeah,
and
jack queen, yeah.
And the board's like deuce 6 jack queen rainbow, and so it's like you see something like that, and this is exactly what I've been talking about online poker for fucking even since when I was with Full Tilt. Is you see shit like that. Now, I mean, this guy now has a legit shot to really, really win a tournament, because when you could get 100 big blinds deep, you could dump 100 big blinds, if you're late in a tournament.
Right.
And you this is what happens. And this happens because I've told the story many times to people. Is I was in Brazil in 2010, and Full Tilt sent me and Gus Hansen down there, and we went and did a pre-party, a pre-tournament. This is before Brazil poker even blew up, and we did a pre-tournament party down in Sao Paulo, and we drove like an hour and a half to the ocean in this big mansion. And he's walking me and showing me around. And upstairs in this mansion is this room about the size of Bellagio poker room. And it was filled with lines of computers up and down, up and down. And I'm like, what the fuck, right? And, we teach people how to play online poker. And I'm thinking to myself, give me a break. They're all playing, and they all buy into one tournament. They get people who are that are competent players to try and build a stack. And then they just dump, and then they win. They give themselves a chance to win big tournaments. I know what's going on. I mean, everybody in the world knows what's going on. So
you also commented on a deal that was made by Farad Jatin and Sharon Shore, I think is her name.
Yeah, I was just joking around there. Like Shannon got such a good deal out of that. And Shannon's a really good guy. I mean, he's one of the good guys in poker. You know? And so,
but you did say online this only pussies
I said
do
only
this.
pussies chop, right?
Yeah.
And so
you've never chopped?
Okay, so I'll give you an idea. So back in the old days, I used to always be up for the chops because you didn't have many tournaments. So you had the World Series, and then you had maybe a couple tournaments, different tournaments a year. And so there wasn't really volume of tournaments. And so if you got to a final table, I always believed you should chop, because it's the equities were so big. Right. But then, Daniel taught me something. He says, Mike, and he was the first one to teach me about not chopping. He goes, if you don't chop, if people are asking for a chop and you say no, they're asking for a chop because they need the money. Okay. And so if they're asking for a chop, it's because they need the money. If they need the money, you can exploit them and put pressure on them. And I never thought about it that way, but he was right. If people are asking for a chop, they need the money and they want the money. And so that's why in that chop there, Shannon was fourth in chips and he got second place money. Why did he get second place money? Because he's a crusher. And I played with Shannon, my whole life before he was even a crusher. Now he's a crusher. And so, they gave him second place money. And as it ends up, he was on his way home. He got tested positive for COVID. So, it's almost like it worked out really good for him.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I chopped one time. It was a bracelet I gave away. It was 1997.
You gave a bracelet away for a chop?
Well, I didn't know. This is 1997. Bracelets didn't mean anything. So it was like the very first Omaha 8 tournament I played. I had 11-1 chip lead, and Scotty asked me for 10,000 more, and Ted Forrest asked for 5,000, and they gave 26,000. So I took 15K off the top,
You regret it?
First place money minus 15,000.
Do you regret it?
I had like 11-1 chip lead, but Scotty ends up winning 11 hands in a row and winning a bracelet.
Do you regret doing that?
No, because that 126. I was a poker dealer 6 months earlier working.
That was big. That was big.
So 126 grand was money. I remember us sitting in the limousine throwing the $100,000 brick around like it was. I mean, that was more money like I thought I'd ever.
Yeah, at that time it was the right move. I get it.
You know, but I would, if I knew that bracelets meant anything, I would have tried to win. I wouldn't have gone all in dark the fucking like first 4 hands in a row. Just
yeah, I got it. Yeah,
so,
that's
yucky. That's the only regret there is I didn't try and win.
Yeah, that's yucky. I don't know, but whatever. It's in the past. You got your brick.
Yeah.
So you commented on something else recently that I want your opinion on. You commented on the fiasco that happened recently on Big Bet Poker with Jason and Austin. What do you think about that debacle? Why do you think it happened, and what do you think's behind it?
First of all, I thought it was disgraceful. I truly believe if either one of those guys are allowed to ever be on a live stream again, I think it would be disgraceful. That was. I mean, we talk shit. We make fun of people. I mean, we have fun, but that was.
Yeah.
I mean,
that was nasty.
That was nasty. The fact the same old clowns keep fucking putting it on their podcast for clicks, talking about it, you know, tells me that I'm right about the same old clowns. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm really against these people that go to a certain place for clicks. You know, I'm against this. You know,
yeah.
if I want to do it, I could do it. You know what I'm saying? I just run my podcast. We could just let them go to this top story of the week, and this guy wanting to fuck his mother on fucking TV. You know, I just don't go there. I ignore people like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like you can't give them breath. You can't give these people that are looking to get clicks and likes. You know, and that's, we live in a world of affirmation. I've talked about this before. Is everybody is desperate for affirmation, and that's why you know. I don't want to live in that world of affirmation. I don't want to live in a world where everybody wants to tell me this, or people want to tell me how good I am or how great this is, or, you know, click the like button, give me affirmation, you know, here's my show. This is what I go forward. I hope you enjoy what we talk about, you know, but I'm not going to go out of my way and post about something so disgusting and then keep talking about it and give it life. Because,
well, when you get a chance, go to, I know you want to lean out of it, but there's a really interesting post by Jason. He posted a text between him and someone there at Big Bet Poker, and it's really bizarre. So check that out. I'm not going to talk about it. But
Jason is the guy that was he involved in that?
Yeah, that's the blonde kid. He was the agent, not Austin. You know, there was two of them. It was the guy in the left with the blonde hair.
Oh, the guy that was in the middle that didn't say a word?
No, the one of the two. The guy, the taller guy on the left.
Oh, no. Jason was the one that said he was bipolar and crazy. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll have to look at that.
Yeah, check it out. It's a pretty interesting thing.
That was somebody. I don't want to bring this. I don't want to give this story any life, but was that on live television? Somebody said.
I don't know if Bally's puts it on television or not. I have no idea what their business model is. I don't know if they go on television. I do know that they're just streaming with a delay, and I know that they cut it off after all that happened. I don't know if it's on televion. I really don't even know where they put their stuff.
I'm like, I don't think it was on live television, but
I don't think so either. I think on any kind of television programming, you just edit down all the interesting hands and you edit.
Here's a question for you. If that happened on your show, what would you do?
Okay, so I'm going to answer it this way. If I was there, okay, you got to understand, if I was there, I'm hoping this would be if Brian was there, if our floor man Louis, if I was there, I would have made him leave. That would have been over. It would have been over.
Game over. A big get the fuck out.
I think we let the Huss West thing go a little too far. Myself, I wasn't there. I wasn't there when it happened, And a lot of times these things happen, and it's the first time they happen for you, and then it's kind of a learning curve. But
Yeah.
I think when Huss was saying, I'm going to kick your ass, and then Wesley was talking about the mom, that's enough. Like, you can't just walk up to the table. Listen, we both know it's good for views. We went to 58,000 live views because everyone started telling everyone you got to tune in right now. Okay. So it's good for a show, but but if I'm being really honest, like even a lot of the stuff that happened with Jack 4, I never leaned into wanting that to be how we get views. We've never had them back on. So I would, if I was physically there and that kind of nastiness was happening, they get yanked.
Yeah. And it's funny part about, listen, I have my own feeling about Wesley, and I'll just keep it to myself. But look what it caused. It really, it caused Wesley to almost lose $3 million the next day. Let's just put it that way.
I agree. Not only that, but I think more so the pressure of people were on him about his tight range and that he wasn't playing any hands, and it got to him. He was taking a lot of heat online. Yeah.
Well, because when you pretend to be somebody you're not, and then you get called out for that same person that you're not, there's pressure to be that person you're not. And then
I know it firsthand, and it's a trap.
And when he became that person he wasn't, if the one guy doesn't lose his mind and just hand him 1.3 million at the end of the night, I mean, you saw the look on Wesley's face. He looked like he was just like, give me a loaded fucking gun with 5 bullets in it, and if I hit the one that doesn't go off, it does. He would, and like he wins that pot, and he acted like he was 3 million winner when he was 1.7, whatever it was. So people act like I have nothing against Wesley at all. I just think if I think somebody is a phony, I'll just call them out for it. You know what I mean? I don't. That's just my opinion. I don't. My opinion is just like anything else. It's like I believe people. Just because you're a phony, I mean, doesn't mean maybe he's a good person, maybe he's not. But I know people who try to be people they're not, and it's pretty obvious when they're not, and so I call it out for it,
Yeah. How I look at it is this. I have a lot of thoughts, not specifically on Wesley. I have a lot of thoughts on a lot of people and a lot of things. Unless I know for sure, then it is just my opinion. Yeah. And sometimes I let those opinions out. I do. But I really try not to, because if my read is wrong, then what, right?
Yeah. But don't worry about it. As a person who's a smart and very intellectual like you are, our intuitions is what we live with, right? Our intuitions, it's like Sean Deeb said to me, Mike, you're a world-class poker player. He goes, what does your intuition tell you? And then I was telling him the answer. You know what he would say? He goes, well, that's my intuition too. Because poker players, you see people complaining and whining about their, oh, I'm running so bad. Oh, this or other. Listen, the great poker players win. The good they win. They have great intuition. They know where they're at in every hand. They don't need GTO. They don't need a solver. You think Sean Deeb's ever ran a solver in his fucking life? I'll take the under on that.
Yeah, no, I'm going to say a couple of things about Sean. First of all, I consider him a friend. We're good. I like him. I would challenge one thing about, and I do agree with you about intuition, but, I just did a podcast with Sean, and he truly believes that because he has so much experience, that his opinion is if somebody he believes is guilty, they're guilty and not even guilty. And
I agree with him. And we talked about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
like,
guilty and he believes in guilty until proven innocent versus the other way, which is a hard one for me.
Well, I'm against that. I saw that on the podcast that you guys did.
Yeah.
And I'm always against innocent until proven guilty. But when there's certain things that come down that in our world, like you have to take all the combinations of
circumstantial evidence.
Right? And then try and form an opinion of it.
Sure.
And so that's really all we have. And between the circumstantial evidence and the intuition of top poker players, it's like I've discussed certain things that have happened in poker with the top players, like players who I would consider, I'm not saying Brian Rass, but people that are like Brian Rass, Brian Rass, Sean Deeb, Scott Siebert, top poker players, right? And we discussed something that happened in the poker world. We are always in agreement that that's what happened. You understand what I'm saying? There's never one of us on the fence saying, well, maybe that that
I
person
understand.
didn't do that. And so,
I understand. There's a lot of experience, a lot of good intuition. Hey, Mike, who do you think out of all the players you mentioned or anyone else, who do you think? Because I'll tell you what, all that said about innocent and guilty and all that shit, Sean Deeb is impressive, and his stats speak for themselves. Do you think he or anyone else could make a run at Phil with the bracelets because of their age?
No.
Okay.
No, because I taught Phil how to play all the mixed games, and now he's a world-class mixed game player, and he's got himself in a chance to win every mixed game. He puts himself in position to win. Like I played with him in the 25K horse, and we played in the table of death. I mean, we had 58 bracelets at our table with like 4 tables to go. There was me, Phil, Sean Deeb, Brian Rass, then Johnny Hennigan sat down, Josh Ari. And we had the absolute worst table. Phil finally, because he always hears me crying about table draws. I go, what do you think of this one, buddy? And he's like, Mike, he goes, this is the toughest table I've ever played at. And it was, kind of sucked that Phil kind of bubbled the tournament because he kind of played pretty good. And I like the way he's playing. And people will say, why did you teach Phil how to play all the mixed games? Well, were you there for me when fucking my life sucked? Phil was there for me. Where were you? And so Phil is a world-class mixed game tournament player now. And so with that in mind, and the fact that they don't think he can win no limits, and all he's doing is winning no limit tournaments, Yeah, he's
always there. He's always right there.
I mean, let's just put it this way. He still had 5 top 15s, and 4 of them were in no limit. So like you might not like the way he plays no limit hold'em. Okay, you might disagree with his flaws, and I know what every one of his flaws are. But you got to see the things that he's doing well, and if you don't, if Phil would fix some of these flaws, would he be an unstoppable force? Yes, but you can't. Phil's got, he can only listen so much, It's like even with no limit, he's all like, when I want to. So it's like I taught him how to help him with all the mixed games, and he's really is a world-class mixed game tournament player now. And then when I want to bring up no limit about some things that I don't like he's doing, he'll be like, shut the fuck up. What do you think you're better than me in no limit? So it's like, Phil, I helped you. You made 7 final tables in 7 different games in 2021. I go, why would I be trying to hurt you? It's
right. Yeah, we know you're loyal to each other. It's a good friendship, and I get it. And and so hey, last question I have for you before we wrap this up.
But will Sean Deeb? Do I believe that Sean Deeb will probably end up second? I mean, I don't see anybody around right now. I mean, I take it seriously. Ivy buys in on day 2 of every tournament, and it was really weird. It's like Ivy just gets in there and just gambles and then just leaves. And I'm just thinking to myself, that's not the Ivy I used to play with.
I don't know enough to ever give an opinion, so I will give a very vague opinion. But I think it seems to me like he has checked out, like of being serious about it. Where you look at Sean, and Sean's digging in.
I agree with WSOP. He's kind of checked out now with these Triton events, these big buy-in events. He's crushing them.
Yeah,
but he's probably being staked in these big buy-in events where you could win millions of dollars. So he's taking them seriously.
No, for sure. He's definitely one of the most talented ever.
And I've played in 50, 100 world, like at the same table as Ivy different. And he is not. I have not sat down where I can tell you Ivy's played well of any of the tournaments at the World Series. That's not taking anything away from him.
We know he knows how
he just
to.
might not be taking it seriously.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we know he knows how to. So, yeah. Mike, last thing. Tell me about the documentary you mentioned about you, who made it, when it was made, when it's coming out, what it's about.
So I have a documentary coming out called Matusow. It'll be on a streaming service in October. Plan to have it finished by the end of September. We talked yesterday. And, people are going to be very eye-opened about what I deal with every day. I mean, people think they come up to me always during the World Series and they're like, "Oh, Mike, how you doing? How's your back? How's your back?" No, my back's fine. I have a fucking, but I do have a severe injury. If I move the wrong way, I could be paralyzed. So, I deal with, people don't have any idea, what I deal with every day, what it takes for me to prepare to get ready to play a poker tournament every day. This year at the World Series, I even added something, and Dan Shack kind of really pointed me this direction a little bit, is we talked about IVs. And so I started going to a company called Pure IV. And after the first 2 weeks of the series, I was getting an IV 2 times a week to up sometimes 2 to 3 times a week, usually every 3 days. So usually 2 times a week. And that changed the whole World Series for me. So now all of a sudden I had a room to go to. I struggle to stay hydrated during the series and stay, eating. It's really hard to eat and stay hydrated. So when they give you the IV with vitamins in it and nutrients in it, and it really, really, really helped me a lot. That's why I was able to get through to, get to day 3s.
People who don't know, like when you play the main, you get very short breaks with lines around the block to take a leak.
Yeah.
So if you drink too much to stay hydrated, you're missing hands, or you're waiting in line. Your whole break is there. All the food that's available, there's long lines and it's all shit. And you can't go eat something good. So unless you do what you're doing, like have a pre-planned, maybe something in your room, and even then, and you got to be staying right there because you don't have time to get up and get down very quick. And I'm sure for you, it's even harder. So it's a big undertaking to try to stay in the right mind frame, physically, emotionally, everything during a tournament.
I have to map out. I have to really map out like the medications, because I'm on so many of these medications I deal with for pain and stuff. So I have to map out like what medications here I have to do, how much Adderall should I take? Don't take too much because I don't want to get manic. And I had one bad Adderall day at the series this year, and one bad Adderall hour at the series this year. And the bad Adderall day I had was on day 3 of the main, where my brain wasn't right and I punted. And but that was the best punt maybe of my life, because it then made me go to my room, lay in bed, and then I got 5th in the 25K for 186,000, which I would have had to get to day 7 of the main to get 186,000.
Wow, yeah, crazy.
So, that was a good punt. But the other one was hour 2, and I don't hide it from anything. Hour 2 of the head up match is we went in a dinner break. There were 4 of us left, and I asked myself, should I take another half of Adderall? Because I take usually 30 milligrams a day, 15 when I wake up, and then like a quarter every 4 hours to help me focus. And I went back and forth on this, and I decided to take an extra half, and it kind of whacked me out a little bit in the second hour of head up. And I started hearing voices, and I decided to myself, like I got to tighten up,
Was it Phil's voice telling you to fold?
No, but I overfolded a hand that cost me the tournament. And it was I put so much pressure on myself to win. It wasn't about I got to play good. I got to play good.
Yeah.
It was just I got to win. I got to win. I never play a poker tournament where I said I have to win, right? But that's what when I was head up and I thought I had control of the match the first hour. I went from 3.5 to 5.5. So it was like 5.5 million to 8.5 million. At 400,000 big blind. I was very comfortable. And then I just didn't play my best. And he played good. I don't want to knock it. I don't want to ever knock Martin. He played very good.
Yeah.
But if I played my best, he couldn't have won. And I did not even play close to my best. And a lot of it had to do, again, it's a decision that I made an hour and a half earlier.
Yeah.
Caught up to me because it's like you have, because of all the medications that I have to take and what I have to do to keep myself prepared to play poker. Sometimes you say to yourself, okay, I have to do this, and this, and then a combination of, it affects your brain, right? And then your brain was a little bit off, and that kind of happened up in hour 2 of the head up match when I was playing for the bracelet. But listen, I didn't even know what first or second paid. I found out the next day what second place was. And, a lot of people were like saying, take the day off because it was a 10K stud 8 that day. And buying on day 2. And I was like, no, I'm going to sleep in and I'll late reg at 7 and come down and grind. And I very short the entire tournament. And then all of a sudden we're 9-handed and I had 800,000 in chips at 40K big blind. And I was sitting on 20 big bets. And I said to I really felt that, even the guy who won it, Ryan Miller, he's like, he thought me and him were going to end up head up, because we were probably the 2 best players. But to get second, be as depressed as I was. And
I saw your post. You were pretty leveled.
I was just in tears for hours and
hours. I get it.
Hours and hours. And then they come back and get back to the final table of the 10K.
It's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive.
I'm not going to tell you.
I'm not blowing smoke up here.
One of the top 4 most fulfilling accomplishments in my poker world.
As it should be. I'm not blowing smoke. It's very impressive. Look, Mike, I'm going to wrap it up. Speaking of taking leaks, I'm in a little trouble here, so I got to get to the little boys' room. But here, let me wrap it up and say this: you had a great run at the 2023 WSOP. I want to congratulate you on that. You should be proud of it. Your mark in poker is no one could question it. Whether you make it in or not to the Hall of Fame, and I think you should, and I think you will. You've always been a good friend to me. I think you're a great guy. People who don't know you, if they don't know that is a truth. And I appreciate you doing this for me today.
Yeah, you got it. And the thing is I had a good World Series. I made 6 figures. I half of myself because I do most of it for the fans. Also I'm not at my age. I don't want to be in a spot where I lose 200,000 in the World Series. I've only had 2 losing World Series. The year that I was sick in 2014, and then last year I lost 5,000 somehow. But
sure.
I win because I try. I work hard. I know people don't realize. Like, I don't even understand how anybody can play tournament poker for a living. That's just craziness. It's just so hard.
God bless him and more power to him, because it's a grind, man. I don't know how they do it.
I tell people all the time, I'm like, man, if they should check their brains for CTE when they die, because, man, you got to be a special breed to play tournament poker for a living. That shit's like, only one person's happy, it's like I finished second and wanted to fucking jump off a dam.
Well, thank God you can't get up and jump. And so that worked out for you. That worked out for you. Hey, listen, Mike, thank you again. This is the Nick Vertucci Show. I am Nick Vertucci, and for Mike Matusow and I, Envy out.
Take care, man.